New Orleans Saints Spencer Rattler shines as quarterbacks put on a show. Ladies and gentlemen, Ross Jackson, Locked On Saints. All right, Ross has been out at training camp every single day this week, and on day 3, or day 3, as we would say in my Duolingo French class, 102-day streak, ladies and gentlemen. On day 3, Ross was very complimentary of Spencer Rattler. So I'm interested to hear what he's going to say about that. He's boots on the ground. He's seeing it with his own eyeballs, and we're going to react.
The quarterbacks needed a rebound day, and they got it, and it was led by quarterback Spencer Rattler. Now, I want to go through all 3 quarterbacks here, and I want to be really clear. No quarterback underperformed on Friday, and that's good news. You're going into the 3rd day of training camp. Kellen Moore, New Orleans Saints head coach, said that he felt that it was the cleanest that.
Yeah, so day 2, there was some not concern, but Rattler threw a pick. I think Shough was kind of slow, just kind of moving, still developing. And there was that moment because we keep saying like, oh, well, they'll just kind of grow and they'll develop, and then eventually one will be really good, and then they'll take, they'll be the starter, and we're good to go. There is a world where neither are good. Right, there is a world where Shough struggles and Rattler has plateaued, and he just kind of is who he is. And we be in a situation like the Raiders were in, where it's either Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell, and it's like, well, they neither one of them are good. Like Gardner Minshew isn't elevating and taking that next step. Aiden O'Connell wasn't pushed by competition, and then he takes the next step. Like it's just 2 below average quarterbacks, and if you have 2 below average quarterbacks, you have 0 quarterbacks, right? So that is a fear that could happen. And again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you do have to factor in ranges. So you have to factor in anything that's possible, right? So that obviously is a possibility. So after day 2, I did pause and I thought, we don't need to see too many more days like this. Like we don't need to have days where it's like, picks here, defense won this day, quarterbacks look shaky. We don't need to have 2, 3, 4, 5 of those in a row. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, 24 hours later, all my fears were erased. Thanks to Spencer Rattler.
The offense has looked operating so far, and so he was really pleased with that, pleased with the quarterback play. So I want to be very clear that every quarterback looked their own version of really nice today. But the difference was about opportunity. And that's really where I want to start off today's conversation. So just so that you're aware, Jake Haener got his first team reps on Friday. A little bit of a surprise, if we're being completely honest. Spencer Rattler was with the second team, and then Tyler Shough was with the 3rd team. So I think it's important to have some context here that Tyler Shough only saw 6 team reps, not 16, 6 team reps, and then saw 3 additional 7-on-7 reps. So he only saw a total of 7 snaps during Friday's practice. Now, I'm sure that he led the way during the developmental period after practice and all those other things. They're going to find a way to even those snaps out, whether it's today during walkthroughs and things like that in the app.
Yeah, that all will get balanced out. Like the rep amount, who's doing who's with the first team, who's with the 3rd team, all that will get balanced out in training camp. Training camp is not for decisions of, okay, you're with the 1, okay, you're getting 60% of snaps today. It's all going to be the same. It's all going to be just a balanced rotationary period. That's what training camp is designed to do. So don't put too much stock in who's taking snaps with the 1 versus the 3, who's getting these reps, who's getting that. It'll all wash out in the end.
Afternoon, or of course, in the coming days, the Saints are about to take the day off on Saturday and then go 5 straight, Sunday through Thursday. So there'll be a lot of opportunities to get all the numbers evened out here. But I just thought it was really interesting to see that Tyler Shough got a single team drill throw during this training camp practice. And it was the best throw of the day. A phenomenal ball going across the field as Juwan Johnson was crossing from the right side of the field, working towards the left boundary in the deep area. He had 3 different receivers that were trailing him, or 3 different defenders that were trailing him, desperately trying to keep up with him. Beautiful ball placement over the top by Tyler Shough. Easily his best throw of camp so far, but it was the only throw that he had in team drills all day. So it would have been really interesting to see him, if he was on like that, what that would have looked like for an entire practice period. So we'll see. The reason why I bring this up is because if you invest the 40th overall pick and you go and you draft a quarterback, the highest that you drafted a quarterback in the NFL draft in earnest since 1971 in Archie Manning, you know that you're trying to get him out onto the field. Like, we're talking about the quarterback battle between Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler for the beginning of the season, but we know that eventually the idea is going to be to get Tyler Shough out on that field and have him be the starting quarterback to see what he can be for their future. That's inevitably going to happen at some point. And so it feels like, I get it's the third day of practice, so maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, but I don't know. It just feels like you'd want to get that guy as many reps as you can.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it in a really short term, you can look at it like wasted time. You can look at it like, well, why isn't he taking reps? You know, if you like Ross said, but if it's all going to balance out, it's kind of a moot point. If it's all going to equal itself, then it is what it is. And they are implementing the offense, or they are installing the offense. So there is that as well, where the rotation just has to be the rotation right now. I'm sure, just like in college football 26 or Madden or something, you want to use all your points to develop the quarterbacks, but you do have to spread those points out, even if it means not throwing all the resources you possibly can at those quarterbacks right now. So if this is something that continues, if Tyler Shough starts taking one team rep of practice for a week, then yeah, it's worth talking about. But I think we just have to trust that this has all been planned out and it all will shake out to be about the same at the end.
And particularly get them with the first and second teams. But look, he got an opportunity to throw to Juwan Johnson, who's a first team guy, and he absolutely made it work. But I think Spencer Rattler was the strongest quarterback of the day, completed 6 of his 6 passes in team drills. Today's work, just to put some context around that, was a little bit more like down and distance. So you saw throws on 3rd and 5, 3rd and long, 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 7, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 3. So you saw a lot of down and distance work. So there were times where you saw them take a check down, but the check down was the good play to make because it picked up 3 yards on a 3rd and 2, or it picked up 4 yards on a 3rd and 3. You get what I'm saying? And so there's some context to be had within all that. But 6 of
So this is 2 out of 3 now that Rattler has been really, really good. And, I know Nicholas was tweeting, and other people that were there were tweeting about it, saying Rattler was, he completed every pass. And so today was another one of those days where Rattler continues to impress.
6 for Spencer Rattler over the course of team drills. If you add in 7-on-7s, he was 10 of 10. He had 3 really, really good throws to Mason Tipton. One of them being this big bomb down the left sideline where he caught Mason Tipton with Quincy Riley in coverage, led him just enough. Mason Tipton using his speed, reminiscent of what it was that made him the darling of training camp last year in Irvine, California. And then 2 outbreaking routes towards the sideline and towards the boundary. Spencer Rattler has shown a real proficiency for that timing, getting the ball out on an outbreaking route, going towards the boundary, going towards the out of bounds line is what I mean by that. But getting the ball out before the receiver comes out of their break. So anticipating throwing to a spot and trusting that the receiver is going to get there. One thing I can say confidently about all 3 of these quarterbacks that they do much better than Derek Carr ever did in a New Orleans Saints uniform is lead receivers when they're working laterally or across the field.
Kellen Moore is a mastermind of crossing routes. He's a mastermind of that shallow mesh concepts where he's going to have receivers crossing and in crossing patterns. And it's going to be on purpose, right? It's going to be for a reason. And you're going to see a ton of that in his offense.
Derek Carr had so much trouble with that, constantly throwing behind receivers in those situations when they're crossing the field, all that. I haven't seen very much of that. I've seen maybe some high throws every now and then. Some of that has to do with what the pressure looks like in the backfield. All those other things, there's a lot of context to it, of course. But one thing that all of these quarterbacks can do, but we've seen a lot from both Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough specifically, is hitting these guys and leading them as they're crossing the field. Derek Carr could easily get a ball out in front of somebody downfield, right? I'm going to put it out in front of you. You run under it, go and catch it. That was something he was really good at. But there was something about receivers working laterally across the field that he just couldn't. I would never want to watch him play asteroids, right? Because then he's got to shoot where the spaceship is going and all this other stuff.
Yeah, or what about play quarterback? Since, throwing those kind of routes is like a pretty big part of that job.
He would be terrible at it. Very dated reference, but I hope somebody gets it. But that's something I think we've seen all of these quarterbacks do. And Jake Haener on his day, 8 of 11, 4 of 4 in 7 teams, and in 7 on 7 drills, excuse me. And then that made him 4 of 7 on the day.
God, I need an abacus.
Team drills. He had a really nice pass to Mason Tipton as well, who had like 4 or 5 really good plays throughout the day. We also saw him connect with a couple of other receivers that were all, kind of these impressive moments and everything too. He had a really great throw on a quick slant where he stepped up in the pocket as the pocket collapsed around him, kind of stepped up and was able to get.
Jake Haener season, ladies and gentlemen. 20% off at GNC. Get on down there. Jake is doing what he's got to do.
Get the ball out. But there were a couple of plays where, like, there was one play to where, he got the pass out and it ended up being incomplete, but Chase Young would have absolutely demolished him on a blind side hit as he won the edge coming around Kelvin Banks Jr. We'll break that play down a little bit later. But so there's some of these plays too where we saw the defense still find ways to be impactful. But for the most part, it just feels like the quarterbacks needed a bounce back day after the defense really dominated in the red zone drills. And this was really the first day that we saw the Saints offense successfully open things up and kind of get the ball downfield and get some of those big highlight completions and things like that. So I'm all about it. I just, the curious thing for me was just Tyler Shough kind of getting the short end of the stick on the day. I'll be curious to see how they kind of make it up and how much more we see Jake Haener get first team reps. I don't know how much more that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it'll eventually wean itself off where it's going to be Shough and Rattler kind of rotating and Haener kind of settles in. But I'm not surprised at all that on the third day where veterans are getting rest days and it's kind of an awkward day anyways, I'm not surprised that this is when they gave Jake his first team reps
as they move forward here. But look, all 3 of these quarterbacks are really impressive. Spencer Rattler,
and there is probably something important just psychologically for both Rattler and Shough. They're competing with each other, but to remember, like, hey, you're also competing with Jake Haener. Right? Like, you're not guaranteed to be the starter or the backup. There's another guy here competing. So even just mentally, I like the fact that they let Haener get the ones, kind of throw a curveball at Rattler and Shough, just one play with the 2s, one play with the 3s, kind of off schedule. So I don't mind it at all.
Wins the day. But man, I wish we really would have been able to see more of Tyler Shough because that throw to Juwan Johnson was absolutely outstanding on that play. So really good stuff from all 3 of these quarterbacks and really good stuff from a few of these young wideouts too. Mason Tipton looked really good throughout the day. I absolutely loved the play of Rashid Shaheed today. There was a slant that Spencer Rattler hit him on that created some yards after catch opportunity. And he just got out there and just completely blew past the defense. It was Julian Blackman, the newly signed safety, who made a diving attempt at the ball, ended up not being able to get there, but then boom, and then he was gone. It was great.
Yeah, I wonder if Rashid Shaheed one day he'll be as good as Darnell Mooney and Ray McLeod.
It was a really, really nice play for Rashid Shaheed. We also saw another touchdown. I think I can safely say 2 touchdowns for Spencer Rattler on the day. The first of which being that Rashid Shaheed catch and run. The other was kind of this 30-yard touchdown pass and catch from Spencer Rattler to Michael Jacobson down the field. Michael Jacobson continues to find ways to have an impact. So, all right, coming up next.
All right, so there you go. So this is good. All right, this should calm. This should calm everyone down. Again, I don't care if it's Spencer Rattler. I don't care if it's Tyler Shough. But we do care that they are progressing. We don't want whoever wins to win with a C grade, right? We want the quarterback battle to elevate both players. And we want to hear stuff like this, where Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough, whatever, wins the day because they went 10 of 10 and 2 touchdowns and dominated the red zone and scrambled and did this and 30-yard that. That's what we want to hear, right? We don't want to hear it's kind of the best of the worst. So this is it. This is what we talked about, where, all right, let these 2 guys develop, let these 2 guys push each other, let these 2 guys grow, and then, hey, whoever wins, we have a young, capable quarterback who's going to deliver. Remember, guys, we only need like all right, stay with me here. Let's say Derek Carr is what, a 20-ish quarterback in the NFL, 20 to 25, somewhere in there, if he was playing. And then you think about if Derek Carr was the quarterback, what the projected wins and all that for the Saints would be. Most of the Saints' problem with the big media is that they don't know anything about the quarterbacks. But if you told me, or if you told anybody, that Tyler Shough and or Spencer Rattler will play up to what Derek Carr would have, well, that alleviates a lot of the pain points of this team. So all that means is that one of these two guys has to play up to about somewhere between the 20th and 25th best quarterback in the NFL, which would make the Saints way better than the worst team in the NFL, right? 32, rock bottom. So they don't we don't need these guys to be, of course we want them to, but if they can just be that, if they can just be at that level right now, it completely changes the outlook of this team, and completely changes the outlook of some of those games where we're dogs to Carolina at home, we're dogs to the Giants, we're dogs to the Patriots, we're dogs in this game. All of a sudden now, you would see the Saints as favorites in a lot more games. And then all of a sudden that win total starts shooting up. Then all of a sudden the projection starts shooting up, right? So, but we got to have one guy, at least one, truly win this competition. So reports like this is exactly what you want to hear. Can't wait. We get a break now. I'm filming this on a Friday. Saturday is a nothing day for camp and all that. And then we're right back at it like a crack addict. So I'm excited. Nonstop content all the time. Rat Daddy, 2 of 3 practices. Really good. 2 of 3 practices, he was about as good as you can ask for. So for all the Rattler backers out there, it's looking pretty good for you. It's looking pretty good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Buy a shirt, buy a mug.